Good day, good people. Good day, bad. It's me, Mr. Glasses, back at it again. The truth is the truth. Period. Fuck all the bullshit. What I'm about to do and share with you guys is this bullshit that I ran across this day. And while I'm sitting here with y'all listening, I'm gonna let them run something else that I did. You see this? They won't let me get this picture. What's going on with you? What's going on there? It's me, Mr. Glad. But the truth is the truth. Period. Fuck all that bullshit. I'm here looking at this picture of this demonic demon. That's my video of a human with Hillary Clinton being here. Bro, what? I don't even see this. What I'm doing is gonna play that in the background while we play the bullshit that the media is playing on the people. The media is putting fear in the people of China so we can go to war with China, so our government can make money off of the chaos and the mayhem. But most of you people are so stuck on stupid and don't want to be straight because y'all taught to be stupid. I'm talking to all you religious people that believe in the man-made God and Jesus bullshit. Being the elite sold us out, people. The elite. See what that say up at the top of them? United States as the corporation. That's because we pushing with China, even though China is already thrown the fuck off. You don't need to be pushing with no motherfucker that's thrown off.
Chief National Security Correspondent Jim Sciutto. He's in Manila right now, the Philippines. He has an exclusive report on that confrontation between the Chinese military and a U.S. spy plane. Jim, tell our viewers what happened.
Of America that the elite created
fundamental, deadly, dangerous
corporation.
These islands are brand new manufactured. In fact, China views them as sovereign territory. The U.S. use them as international waters, international airspace, and it demonstrates that, as it did today, by flying over them, sailing nearby them. Chinese protests getting louder, U.S. moves getting bolder, tension there escalating.
Waiting for the truth. It's your that's the first lie that started off. The second lie
high above the South China Sea, the radio crackles with a stern warning.
Yes, it is.
The source of dispute appears on the horizon, seemingly out of
divine
islands,
creator,
man-made by China, hundreds of miles from its coastline. CNN got exclusive access to classified U.S. surveillance flights over the islands. First time journalists have been allowed on an operational mission by the state-of-the-art P-8A Poseidon, America's most advanced surveillance and sub-hunting aircraft. So we're just arrived on station now above the three islands that are the targets of today's mission. It's these three islands that have been the focus of China.
The creator original man.
Building in the South China Sea over
You make the world go round.
Begin with our chief national security correspondent, Jim Sciutto. He's in Manila right now, the Philippines. He has an exclusive report on that confrontation between the Chinese military and the U.S. spy plane.
You was taught to believe in what you think you know. You believe it. You was taught to believe in God.
Brand new manufactured. In fact, China views them as sovereign territory. The U.S. uses them as international waters, international airspace, and it demonstrates that, as it did today, by flying over them, sailing nearby them, protests getting louder, U.S. moves getting bolder, the tension there escalating.
It's one way, not to the left, not to the right, not back. Straight is only one way to create something good for the whole circle. Especially when it comes down to another nuclear life. Straight is only between that man and that woman. That's
Islands on the
to
horizon,
create,
seemingly out of nowhere.
saying to
Islands
create a
man-made by
original
China,
name,
hundreds of miles
while
from
coming
its coastline.
together, literally,
CNN got
in heaven,
exclusive access to classified U.S. surveillance flights over the
creating
islands.
with the name LovE,
Certified journalists have been allowed
to
on an
create
operational
a
mission by
baby
the
the same
state-of-the-art
as you
P-8A
and that
Poseidon,
man is
America's most advanced
in
surveillance
love,
and
knowing
submarine
each other,
aircraft. So we've just
having
arrived
the
on station
responsibility of
now
knowing coming
above
together.
the three islands that
This
are
is
the target
what
of
can
today's
happen with
vision.
one another.
It's these three islands that have been the focus
Positive
of
and
China's
negative
building in the South
coming
China
together
Sea over recent
as
years.
a positive
China's
know each
allowed
other,
the creation of
knowing
entirely
the
new territory in
responsibility
the South
of
China
love
Sea.
making could
One
create
part of a
another
broader
one of
military
each
push
other.
that some fear is to challenge U.S. dominance in the region. Sailing its first
But that's
aircraft carrier,
destruction there.
equipping its
That's not
nuclear
a
missiles
loving
with
thing.
multiple warheads, developing
That
missiles
is
to destroy U.S.
evil
aircraft
as
carriers,
fire.
and now building military bases far from its shores. For the U.S., the islands are a step too far. This flight is part of a new and bold American military response. They soon include sailing U.S. warships close by as well.
Scratch some of that black.
In just 2 years, China has expanded these islands by 2,000 acres, equivalent to 1,500 football
Your
fields
heart
and
is just
counting.
love, and
Engineering
love.
marvel in waters
The
as deep as
first thing
300
that
feet.
makes you be
You're a military man. You look at this. Is there any doubt that that is a future military installation?
It
appears to be built up of
See,
military
this is the United States.
And not to mention, we were just challenged
I want to control this.
probably 30 minutes ago.
Want to go to war with these people to make money. Like I said again, on the destruction. But again, we gotta wake up as the people, realizing that we in some bullshit with this shit.
A runway long enough to handle every aircraft in the Chinese military. Some are calling it China's unsinkable aircraft carrier. These videos of the islands, taken from the P-8's advanced surveillance cameras, never before declassified. In a sign of just how valuable China views them, the new islands are already well protected.
There's obviously a lot of surface traffic down there, Chinese warships and Chinese Coast Guard ships.
We heard the proof. The Chinese Navy ordering the P-8 out of the airspace not once, not twice, but 8 times on this mission.
This is the Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. Please go away quickly.
And like the surveillance videos, the audio of these warnings never before shared with the public. You heard over the intercom, Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. And what was interesting is that there were also,
Like he said, never to be showed with the public. Now, think about it, public. Look at all the shit that's never showed to us, but then some bullshit like this is showed to us, basically for us to get afraid of what they're trying to do. But that is their hallmark signature, putting fear in you. Our government is bullshit. All this warring and shit is bullshit. Because at the end of it all, this is the truth. They're warring for what? You need to think about that for you. They're warring for what? They're warring for population control. They're warring to have people killed. That's what they're warring for. They're warring because the powers that be want it to be. But we are the people that has the power. We just gotta come together and show it, state to state, stopping this bullshit. Cause we already know, at least some of it, what the truth is. I'm just saying, people.
civilian aircraft. There was a Delta flight on that same frequency that when it heard that challenge, it piped into the frequency to say, what's going on? The Chinese Navy then reassuring them, but as the flight crew tells me, that can be a very nerve-wracking experience for civilian aircraft in the area. And the more China builds, we're told, the more frequently and aggressively it warns away U.S. aircraft.
This is a dredger actually pumping sand from under the water on top of an area they're trying to build up land. And we see this every day. So I think they work weekends when they're doing this because
24/7.
It happens. We see it all the time.
Looking at these islands, you see the landing strips, you see military barracks, you see roads being built, trucks driving on those roads, and squadrons of dredgers and cargo ships adding to them every day. I have to say, Wolf, as you see them, they look like very permanent installations. It's difficult to tell, even with increased U.S. military traffic in the area, how China backs down.
Jim, why the increased concern about all of this right now? Because I know there is intense concern at the highest levels of the United States government.
It's two things, Wolf. One, it is pace. Over the span of just 2 years, China has expanded the area of these islands from 5 acres to 2,000 acres, 400 times, and it's rising every day. We saw that today, but it is also this. It is the militarization of them, putting in landing craft that can carry the largest military aircraft in the Chinese arsenal, the early warning radar systems, deep water harbors that can accommodate Chinese Navy ships. It is that militarization that has the U.S. now considering a bolder military response.
And when the Chinese military says to the American Poseidon, the crew up there, please go away quickly, what's the reaction from the crew inside that Poseidon surveillance plane?
Well, they recite very calmly a script. They say that we see these as international waters, international airspace, and that the U.S. will continue peacefully. And I'll tell you, there was one instance there that when that American pilot delivered that message, I heard the frustration from the Chinese radio operator on the ground coming back, simply saying, go away. You can hear the anger there. It's hard to see how this tension
like I said again,
going forward.
this is TV bullshit, telling lies to your vision, wanting us to basically feel these people so they can have a reason to go to war with these people. Then they're going to stay a false flag activity event. Our government is known for the bullshit. That's all they do is bullshit. This is some more rhetoric bullshit dealing with our government and wanting to go to war for to have some of us killed people. So if they don't do martial law, they're going to go into a war with China. So China can invade us because Hillary Clinton then already sold us out to these people. So like I said again, what goes around comes around. But us as the people never had nothing to do with none of that bullshit that's been done. And what I mean by none of the bullshit that's been done, when you sit there and think about every war that we've been in, it's been false flagged by the United States of the discussion. I'm just saying, I love being here in America. But America, the people that's supposed to be our leaders, are not leading us as the people. They're leading their own agenda. See, now that some bitch there, he kind of throw the fuck off. He's a little young motherfucker with PlayStation mentality. And that's basically with all these warmongers. They basically game fanatics, man. These people don't understand, understand the creator is in them. They'll understand, understand to believe in what they was taught to believe in. They are brainwashed. All these people are brainwashed. You soldiers are some real stupid individuals when you look at your whole thing is to do what? Take orders. Orders from who? Orders from the man here on earth to do what? Take another life, another human life like yourself. With that bullshit, God and Jesus coming back to save you, and God is behind you in this madness when the Creator don't have nothing to do with none of this bullshit. This is man with his free will and his choices.
Has insisted that its annexation of Crimea in the middle of March last year was purely a reaction to a referendum that was staged there, in which apparently 97% of the population of Crimea voted to become part of Russia. Now that position has changed. Vladimir Putin on state television as part of a documentary marking a year since Crimea became part of Russia, saying that in fact this was part of a pre-planned plan which was discussed some weeks before for the referendum. So let's take a listen.
I called the leaders of the special services and the Ministry of Defense to the Kremlin, and I laid the task out before them to save the life of the president of Ukraine. Otherwise, they would have just destroyed him. We're ready to take him straight out of the net, by land, by sea, and by air. It was the night of the 22nd to the 23rd. I said to all colleagues, we have to start working on the return of Crimea to Russia.
Vladimir Putin there revealing also details of a plan to evacuate Yanukovych, the ousted president of Ukraine. Up till now, there have been no details about the special forces operation that have been set in motion to extract him. It's not the first time, I have to say, that Vladimir Putin has, how should we say, revised his idea, revised what happened in the past, the steps that have been taken.
We don't want to go to war with nobody, man.
Last year, when armed men,
But all these people are still pissed off because of what happened.
government installations in Crimea.
And even Hiroshima and all the rest of the bullshit.
These are not Russian forces.
America is a piece of shit when it comes down to our military.
Ad hoc on the ground. He then subsequently admitted
Because our military is doing all this here, not in the name of the people,
again, it's not the first time
in the name of the Father and the Son, and that bullshit, Holy Ghost. Ain't got nothing to do with the love He created, that love to create, never to destroy. It's all man-made bullshit. That's first segment of this man-made bullshit. Now, there's another one I want to show y'all. Cause I'm like yourself, I know what they're doing. I know it's man-made bullshit. I know this. I can't do nothing but let you know this. Man-made bullshit. Like I said again, people, truth is the truth. Period. Fuck all the bullshit. We already know 911 was an inside job. But what everybody is not realizing is all man-made bullshit. But all we gotta do is come together with the power of the love and creator that's in us. We gotta realize this. As long as you continue waiting, you'll never move nothing to be able to say that you created something out of nothing, out of madness that you was living in.
Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Shapiro. Thanks for being with us tonight. Donald Trump Jr. is going to be talking with us live in a moment. But first, my opening statement. There are two systems of justice in America. One for everyday Americans and one for Hillary Rodham Clinton. Follow me. March 4, 2015, the federal preservation subpoena is issued for Hillary's Benghazi emails. Mind you, we wouldn't have known she even had any emails because she lied and said she didn't. Except a Romanian hacker named Guccifer hacked her buddy Sidney Blumenthal's emails. Blumenthal, of course, a man Barack Obama would not allow in his State Department. Seems Hillary lied to Barack, too. The two of them emailing classified information about Benghazi. And so begins the mission of Top Lieutenant Under Secretary Patrick Kennedy to declassify Hillary's top-secret classified Benghazi email of foreign activities of the United States, including confidential sources on Hillary's homebrew server. The email that actually started the FBI's criminal investigation. Now, if his name sounds familiar, this is the same Patrick Kennedy that Hillary put in charge of that blue Blue Ribbon Accountability Review Board for lessons learned from Benghazi. By the way, already learned from the Cobart Towers Review Board, lessons never implemented by Hillary. The same Patrick Kennedy who appointed the Clinton pals, who then chose not to question Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State about Benghazi. Kennedy knows the urgency of destroying this particular email as opposed to thousands of others. So he engages in what some say is an attempt to bribe, and others say is a quid pro quo discussion, offering the FBI long-sought positions overseas in exchange for getting rid of top-secret emails. Curious that our ambassador, Chris Stevens, personally and his staff requested security more than 600 times to protect their lives. Yet Kennedy can come up with positions to cover Hillary's career. FBI agent summaries known as 302s say that Kennedy actually offered a quid pro quo. FBI positions to declassify and then mark with a code 9, which would then archive the email in the basement of the Department of State, never to be seen again. The FBI agent, although he felt pressured, refused the offer. Kennedy then makes the same offer to the FBI head of counterintelligence, and when this offer is refused, Kennedy, knowing the FBI criminal investigation is already underway, asks, will the FBI make a public statement about this? When told they will not, he knows the coast is clear. He'll deal with the FBI and the Department of Justice later. For now, Hillary can publicly lie to all of us.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material.
So now, Kennedy, one of the darkest characters in the Clinton playbook, and that's saying something, folks, escapes. But then the 302s are actually released, and Congress says, wait a minute, that sounds like bribery, obstruction of justice, contempt of Congress. Is it? The State Department, the one that wouldn't even allow an Inspector General oversight, and the one that had no Hillary Clinton information available under Freedom of Information to the press, suggests the FBI is lying. Really? Both of the agents are lying? Maybe they misunderstood. And by the way, since the State Department is willing to say that the FBI got it wrong, let's do the whole bounty, folks. How about the FBI director got it wrong when he said the head of the State Department shouldn't be charged? Others say, you know what? Quid pro quos, horse trading. It's what they do in Washington. We're just not used to watching them make the sausage. Come on. Not declassifying and destroying top secret information on the assassination around the killing of our Benghazi ambassador, Libya ambassador, which is under federal subpoena that's supposed to be retained and preserved. A pathological liar who's actually running to be our commander-in-chief. Others say this is what they do in D.C. There's no crime.
Oh, you did this bullshit.
There was no intention to prevent Congress from knowing that the original classification was to be classified and then it was changed. If that would have happened for a public release, for a FOIA release, that would not be a crime. You know, it's very easy to throw around the term crime.
Since when in the history of American criminal justice does one have to announce, hear ye, hear ye? It's my intent now to commit this crime before it can be held to account. And if there was no intent to prevent Congress from knowing, answer this. Why didn't anyone tell Congress of at least the attempt to bribe a federal official, or as some want to call it, a quid pro quo? The FBI didn't, which kind of makes me think that they knew right from the get-go that they weren't going to be filing charges before they even started. Kennedy sure as hell didn't tell Congress. And I actually spoke with one Trey Gowdy, congressman, the chair of the select committee on Benghazi, who told me no one reached out to tell him that there was an attempt to prevent him and Congress from getting the information that he had subpoenaed. Call it what you will, I say it stinks. It's real simple, folks. I spent 3 decades fighting for equal rights and equal justice and a level playing field for all. We take pride in this great nation that we are all equal under the law. For centuries, Lady Justice, with bandages over her eyes, symbolizes that justice is blind, that it matters not who you are. No one is above the law, and no one is below it. Tonight, though, there are tears beneath those bandages. And that's my opinion. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page or Twitter. Hashtag Judge Janine. And joining me now from Westchester, New York, my home county, Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization and son of Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump Jr. Good evening, Donald. Thank you so much for being with us. I can't believe that you aren't exhausted. Do you have the same energy your dad has?
I'm lucky that I do have a lot of his same energy, and you know, this is my one day off the trail because my little guy had his birthday yesterday, and so I was able to get a little bit of a day off, but we'll be back on it hard tomorrow.
I know you will. And you know, I follow you. I have to tell you, I follow you on Instagram and everything else, and well, you spend a lot of time in upstate New York, which is where I'm from, and you go to these demolition derbies. Is that what you do? Is that what I'm seeing?
Well, yeah, I spent a lot of time up in the Catskills. I have a cabin up there, and you know, we like to get away from it on the weekends. So I get my kids out of the city, get them into the woods, get them on ATVs, get them muddy and dirty, and I think I'll probably be doing them a favor for life if I do that.
Well, there's no question. I see them in the woods. I see the whole family, beautiful family. But I digress. Contract with America. Your dad in historic Gettysburg today. Contract saying what he's going to do in the first 100 days. Tell us.
Well, listen, I think it was an amazing idea, and I think it's something very different. I think if there's one thing that this election has shown us is that people are sick of the same old in D.C. They're sick of the promises that no one ever delivers. They're sick of the blatant lies, frankly, that we're reading about certainly a lot more these days. And so I think it's something that cleans up the mess. You know, our founding fathers were business people. They didn't envision a lifetime in government where people just get stagnant. They get rich off of the backs of working Americans like we've seen in D.C. And so this is a system which will eliminate so much of that. I mean, I especially love the parts about imposing congressional term limits so people don't just sit in a seat. They wait there for 40 years. All their friends get rich. They give them all the lobbying jobs. They make sure that their contracts and their buddies are taken care of. Those same people then lobby for other countries abroad at the expense of America, as always. And so, you know, eliminating, you know, putting on term limits, eliminating...
Oh, y'all sons of bitches are saying. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing but help y'all motherfucking friends that helped y'all get where y'all at. Fuck all that bullshit. Y'all talking shit, saying nothing.
On either side of the aisle is thrilled with where Washington has taken us, where they've put us in terms of debt, in terms of everything. So I think eliminating this, creating a way for there to be some fresh blood coming into
That's
DC.
why all my shit is unedited, unscripted. Whatever happens, slip a lip. It is what it
It's
is.
amazing, Donald. You know, when people talk about term limits, you know, it's something that I think most Americans are in favor of. But no one has really, I don't think, spent a lot of time seriously talking about it. And yet what we see in Congress are people going in, you know, who are kind of normal and have average salaries, and they come out multi-millionaires. And the American public is
well,
just
you saw a bunch of that this week.
Didn't we?
Yeah, more and more of that stuff is coming out. You know, more and more of that stuff is coming out. People have realized, what are the little trades that these guys are making? How is it they possibly could do this? I mean, the stuff that Congress exempts themselves from that the rest of the American public is subject to, you know, that's not what this country is about. And I think everyone is in favor of it. And that you do see this, where people maybe even go in with the best intentions. They get caught up in D.C., they get caught up in the, you know, free rides, and they get caught up being bribed by all the rich guys and all the special interests, and all of a sudden, they grab that little bit of power and they hold on to it and they milk it. And you know what? The people that suffer are the hardworking men and women of this country. The people who built this great nation. They're the people that suffer while everyone around D.C. has gotten rich. And we've seen it. And the people are sick of it. And I think that's a partisan problem. I don't think anyone on either side of the aisle thinks that their politicians in D.C. are doing great things for them and they have their best interests at heart. It's just not the case. We've seen it too many times. It's time to, as my father said, drain the swamp. The swamp that is D.C., because It's just not what our founding fathers envisioned. They envisioned people going in. George Washington, they would have given them the lifetime presidency.
And I'll stop.
That's not what this is about.
I'll stop and say this.
Get them out.
Fuck the founding father, slave master bullshit, man. It is what they wanted the shit to be because all of them was in the same secret society together. And I'm not saying one together, I'm saying two together. Them bitches, a lot of these sons of bitches. They go in front of motherfucking owl and woo, and like I said again, the country is exactly where they want the country to be. But the country is nowhere near where the people need it to be. It's not going straight. It's not even much going right. It's not even going want to do right. It's going their right. And definitely the people's wrong. It's not going straight. It's not going straight to the original creator of love. It's not going straight a loving way to create something for everybody in the circle of life together. Mixing with Mother Nature, dealing with Mother Earth. That's angry right now. Mother Earth is angry because they are raping Mother Earth for all Mother Earth is worth. And Mother Earth is acting out, even though they got a weather machine also to go along with Mother Earth acting out. I'm just saying. The truth, people. We coming up to some real bullshit with both of these candidates. None of them really worth shit. So, I'm just saying.
Let them do some service, and then they go back into the real world. Our politicians aren't capable of that.
You know what? And something that I did, you know what? After 3 terms as DA, I said, you know what? I've done it. That's it. I'm going to move on because, as we all know, power corrupts. All right. But we don't have a lot of time. Dad's got to turn around those numbers quickly. How's he going to do it?
Listen, I think he's going to keep doing what he's doing. I mean, you saw today the contract with America. I think that's a really important aspect of it. I think there's so much more in that, whether you're talking about healthcare, whether you're talking about education, all of the things that he's going to institute in the first 100 days about bringing the Constitution, putting that back into effect in America. And I think honestly, Janine, I've been around the country so much as of late, all over the place for the last few months, and there's so many people that tell me, and they're not the usual demographics that the media wants you to believe are the only people that are great for Trump. It's everyone. It's women, young and old, Hispanic, African Americans. So many people have come up and you say, keep it up, keep doing what you guys are doing, keep fighting to break up this system. You know, and you hear it once or twice, you say, Then I have the people that are 25, 35, 45, 55, up to 83 that come up to me and tell me every day, I never registered to vote, and I did it last week for the first time in my life so that I could vote for your father. There's a real undercurrent here that's not getting picked up in polling. These aren't people that are going to tell pollsters anything. I think they're going to show up, and I think you're going to see a real surprise on election day. And I think you're going to see a lot of that in early voting as well.
All right, Donald Trump Jr., thanks so much for taking time out of your family time. Thanks. All right.
My pleasure.
All
Thank you.
right, and joining me now, my all-star political panel, CPAC chairman and Republican strategist Matt Schlapp, along with Democratic strategist and principal of Dewey Square Group, my friend Marianne Marsh. All right, you know what, Marianne, I'm going to start with you right from the get-go. It was going to be close, and, it's not as close as we thought it would be, but it seems that Donald came out with something rather interesting today. This idea of, some of the stuff he talked about, term limits, preventing them from lobbying, and we all know that some of the legislation in Congress that they're talking about, when they say they're going to prevent insider trading, isn't really real stuff that's going on. Isn't this stuff that the American people are interested in, irrespective of politics?
Well, sure, Judge, but the problem is that Donald Trump once again today stepped on his own message by saying things by unforced errors, by talking about the fact that the first 2 things he would do is he would sue his accusers and sue the media. And that's all you're hearing about tonight. So repeatedly throughout this campaign, Donald Trump, whether it was in the debates or elsewhere, says things that are unnecessary and frankly unpresidential, and it steps all over any good message he might have had.
What is presidential? Presidential is the same old bullshit over and over again. Fuck y'all and the president, because we don't need him. We don't need a president. We don't need a president man or a president woman. We need our state representatives to do their funky ass job, each fucking state individually. If you want to live there and have this bitch as the United States of America and the states not be united with different laws, rules, and regulations, fuck all that then. have all the fucking states the same. Same rules and regulations for every fucking body. Fuck all that. This one got that and that one got this. That's the reason why all this bullshit is going on right now.
Want to put Donald Trump in timeout from time to time. They hear things they don't like, and they don't want to tell pollsters that they're going to be for him. But I do think this race is naturally going to get very tight at the end. All the demographers I respect say that, but he's got to put together a good 17, 18 days here.
Okay, and you know, Marianne, I want to ask you about something that I recently found out about, and that is a poll called the IBD, the Investors Business Daily, which is some kind of intelligence tracking poll that apparently, has been pretty accurate. Have you heard of it, Marianne?
I have, and I know people have cited it throughout the day today in particular because it shows Trump in the lead and having accurately predicted the last 3 presidential elections.
Yeah, that's
but
pretty good to accurately predict the last 3. Come on, Marianne, come on.
But I think Matt made my case for me, frankly, but let's talk about the poll numbers for a moment. Over the last 3 debates, this went from a very close race to Hillary Clinton picking up 7 points. And there's a reason. Because in the debates, when you had 50, 60, 70, 80 million people watching, they rendered their judgment. And Hillary Clinton did a very good job in those debates. And Donald Trump had his moments, but then he hurt himself repeatedly in each of those debates.
I wonder if
one
it's
last
so
point.
much...
The last point is, I think what you see now is the Clinton campaign's on offense as a result in building out more states, going to states like Arizona you wouldn't expect, and trying to bring Senate races along with them. Donald Trump's still talking to his base and really has to run the table on a very tight deal, which I think is going to be tough when he's behind in all but one. And
Here's the question that I have. You know what? You can say that it's the debates, but I think historically people have said, you know what? Everybody thinks their guy won the debate. Okay, it's a very subjective thing. And if anything has hurt Donald, I think that everyone's pretty sure it's like not, I think the 11th woman today coming out, and then Hillary teamed up with the Miss Universe 20 years ago. It seems orchestrated, but I don't know, Matt. You tell me.
Look, I think that what has hurt Donald Trump is not the debate performances. His last 2 have been fantastic. It's what happens after the debate performance. And what we're seeing here is he is on offense on his message, which he has not done before effectively, but he's doing it now. And the American people want any excuse, Judge, any excuse to not vote for this woman. They do not like Hillary Clinton. All the polls show it. He's just got to be a responsible alternative, and I think he's going to show that over the course of the next
like you say, alternative. Man, who the fuck want to live there and have to vote for the rest of the motherfucking vote for you? That's the bullshit right there.
And that dominated everything.
The problem with the Hillary Clinton campaign is the following. In almost all these polls we talk about, she's at about the mid-40s. She can't even come close to Barack Obama's numbers. She has definite problems as a candidate. It's the truth. So many of us would say after the October, we've never seen an October like this in the history of presidential politics, and she is having trouble putting this away. And I think that means the voters, in the end, they still are looking at Donald Trump, and I think they really want to vote for him.
And you know what I wonder, Marianne? I mean, why is it that Al Gore cannot accept the results of a presidential race, but Donald Trump, when he says it and is honest, which is why a lot of Americans love it, he's like, oh my God, he's going to start a revolution. You're kidding, aren't you?
So, Judge, honestly, no. I mean, that was I think it was really unfair the Trump campaign to do that because in Florida, where they cast millions of votes, there was a discrepancy of 537 votes. That's an automatic recount. That's a recount. That's not projecting the outcome. That's a recount. And anyone who does campaigns knows it. Anyone knows it. A recount. That's a recount.
All this bullshit, people, and we are in the middle of it. We are middle end of all this reverend bullshit. I mean, I sit here and I say, what can we really do?
Thanks, Megan. And this is a Fox News.
I'm gonna do my part.
Tonight, Donald Trump participated in a presidential forum earlier tonight. Now, Clinton went first, where she was asked about a private email server scandal. And once again, she came up with a new excuse, spinning the fact that the FBI found it held classified information. Now we got a new excuse. Let's take a look at it.
Classified material has a header which says top secret, secret, confidential, nothing. And I will repeat this, and this is verified in the report by the Department of Justice. None of the emails sent or received by me had such a header.
As for Donald Trump, he was asked about the military under President Obama's leadership and used the opportunity to explain how he'd take a much different approach than Hillary Clinton if, in fact, he becomes the commander-in-chief.
Have you lost faith in the military commanders?
I have great faith in the military. I have great faith in certain of the commanders, certainly, but I have no faith in Hillary Clinton or the leadership. You look at what's happened, and, you know, when she comes in and starts saying, oh, I would have done this, I would have... She's been there for 30 years. We need change, man. We have to have it, and we have to have it fast.
Now, this comes as a brand new NBC News poll shows that Donald Trump has a 19-point lead over Hillary Clinton among registered active-duty military and veteran voters. Here was reaction from the Trump Organization, Eric Trump, and Donald Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway. You know, I'm watching media coverage. Everybody's getting it wrong. The moment of the night was this.
I think that the decision to go to war in Iraq was a mistake. And I have said that my voting to give President Bush that authority was, from my perspective, my mistake. I also believe that it is imperative that we learn from the mistakes, like after action reports are supposed to do. And so we must learn what led us down that path so that it never happens again.
She voted for the war. She voted to pull out early. It created a vacuum for ISIS to emerge with the financial backing.
And she said she don't want to never have it again, so you don't need your bill.
Okay, Kellyanne, if you are the mother of one of, what, up to 5,000 people that were killed, and here's a woman that wants to be president, oh, I made a mistake. But it's important that we learn from the mistake. You have a dead child. You have a child that lost their limbs, have been disfigured as a result of a decision.
Talk to him. All because of this war bullshit. Somebody else's funky ass agenda to go to the shit. She's showing that she made money off of the shit. She just told you, don't worry about it. Okay, the shit happened. I made my money off the shit. So we're going to sweep that under the rug. It's not going to happen again. Maybe. Just elect me as president. I'm going to make sure that this time I won't make that mistake twice. But you made it once. You shouldn't have a chance to make it twice, did you?
Saying I was against the Iraq war, and I said we should have taken the oil and gotten out of there before we got out of there. And so she doesn't have a lot of ground here. And by the way, it's not like it's just the Iraq war as part of her Secretary of State and U.S. Senate record. What about Libya? What about Syria? What about the Russian reset? What about Benghazi? And look, I think this election, Sean, we're starting to see it's complex people and very simple ideas. You either are with the 70% of Americans who say, I want to go in a different direction, I want to change the leadership, or you're not. You either are with the 30% of Americans who think she tells the truth, or you're not. It's very simple.
At 37% of Americans, 37% negative, we're on the wrong track. I think this is key. Eric, I want to get to you in this forum tonight, and very specifically, I made a mistake. 5,000 Americans died, many more injured, then created the vacuum for ISIS. And I know people are critical. Oh, your father was critical of some of the generals. Well, I don't think Obama's listening to the generals. That's a separate issue. But seriously, 5,000 people. Oops, I'm sorry. We've got to learn from it.
We're seeing that with General Flynn tonight. It's amazing. I mean, the thing he said, it was very, very clear. We've been handcuffed. We've been totally handcuffed. We're not allowed to do our jobs. It's no different than the Border Patrol. They've been handcuffed. They can't do their jobs. And it's not just the lives, and the lives are the most tragic thing in the entire world. It is so sad, thousands and thousands of lives. It's also trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And I think my father's point is, what do we have to show for it at this point, Sean? I mean, what do we have to show for it? We have 3, 4, 5 different countries that are in total ruin. We have civil war. We have anarchy. We have ISIS. I mean, you can't flip on the TV anymore without seeing another ISIS attack, either in our country or around the world. We have pandemonium in the Middle East. Her foreign policy destroyed the Middle East. It destabilized every single one of those nations, and it's proven to be the absolute disaster.
By the way, we not even got into the Iranian deal. I thought her answer was pathetically weak because we're enabling the Iranians to spin their centrifuges with our money. They get to partner with Russia for missile defense. They get to build up their conventional arms. Then we've got Benghazi. Let's see. They denied 600 requests for security before. They denied help during because she was worried about what our military rescue team was going to wear. And they changed their uniform 4 times. And then, of course, the lies afterwards. She told her daughter the truth, the Libyan president the truth. She told the Egyptian prime minister the truth, but she told us a lie. So, to me, there's a lot of things that came out tonight. Now, we learned something new. We got a new excuse. First, of course, we heard that, well, I neither sent nor received anything classified. I neither sent nor received anything marked classified. Now we got a new excuse tonight. Anything marked with a header. The problem is her own staff took away the header that marked it classified, and she's the only person in Washington that doesn't know that C equals classified, especially if there's no A and B before the C. That can't be alphabetical. Now, I want to play James Comey responding to Trey Gowdy's question on how Hillary Clinton lied again and again about what the excuses she gave to you, the American people, on the use of this private server.
Secretary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on her emails either sent or received. Was that true?
That's not true. There were a small number of portion markings on, I think, 3 of the documents.
Secretary Clinton said, I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
Secretary Clinton said she used just one device. Was that true?
She used multiple devices during the 4 years of her term as Secretary of State.
Secretary Clinton said all work-related emails were returned to the State Department. Was that true?
No, we found work-related emails, thousands, that were not returned.
Secretary Clinton said her lawyers read every one of the emails and were overly inclusive. Did her lawyers read the email content individually?
No.
Wow. She lied. She lied repeatedly. He discovered that she lied. She lied about Benghazi repeatedly. And I'm listening to her tonight, and then her saying what she did about, oh, I was mistaken.
Well, and the funny thing is, the ironic thing is, Sean, that Matt Lauer couldn't even get to all of Hillary Clinton's foreign policy failures because he had to spend the first 14 minutes, and I credit him for this, on her email server and then on her vote in Iraq. I mean, she was on defense from moment one, and she looked it. I don't think the Clinton campaign could be very happy with tonight's performance. I don't think it looks good for the upcoming debates, and that's not a loop that they're going to want to have rerun and rerun. And I would just remind everybody of one thing. Republicans in the past have been what I call hearing impaired when it comes to doing these hearings, and they don't do a very good job. This was masterful today by Trey Gowdy. Just lay out the...
That was a couple of weeks ago. It was masterful.
And look, for Jim Comey, I want to remind people, that he's under oath when he testifies in Congress.
Why isn't she under oath?
Well, she's not under oath when she's at a forum. He's not under oath when he gives a press conference. And I think that you're going to see that in an ad you're going to see that when you saw tonight in an ad this fall.
Let me just remind, and I'll get Eric's response to this, because she gave multiple answers as it relates to the email server scandal, and it kept evolving, and tonight we got a new explanation. Let's roll tape.
Laws and regulations in effect when I was Secretary of State allowed me to use my email for work. That is undisputed. It clearly wasn't the best choice. And I take responsibility for that decision. I thought it would be easier to carry just one device for my work and for my personal emails instead of 2.
iPhone or Android? iPhone.
Okay, in full disclosure,
BlackBerry.
And a BlackBerry. I have an iPad, a mini iPad, an iPhone, and a BlackBerry. I believe I have met all of my responsibilities, and the server will remain private in order to be as cooperative as possible. We have turned over the server. They can do whatever they want to with the server to figure out what's there, what's not there.
But not only did they not clean the server with a cloth, as she glibly told her own Henry, but they actually used bleach pit to make sure, as Trey Gowdy said, that God couldn't find those emails, some 33,000. When you look at the evolution and get a new excuse tonight, what are your thoughts?
It's almost a million, and I expect the American people deserve a lot better than this. I mean, it's disgusting. You see that whole train. You see the lies. You see the deception. You see the lies to Congress. You see the lies to the Department of Justice. right? I mean, it's really disgusting. The American people deserve better than Sean. I think that's exactly why my father's running. You know, I mean, you see the corruption down in Washington. You see
The worst out of the both evils. Isn't that more bullshit to even swallow?
I've never seen anyone enrich themselves. What are your other takeaways here? Because Libya got short shrift in a little bit, because before there were 600 requests, during she was arguing about what rescuers should be wearing, and after were the lies. Then it's the Iranian deal. Then it's her answer on the VA. Well, VA corruption still exists today, and they're not waiting 6 days. I think your dad said 6 days. No, they've waited years. People have died because they had 2 sets of lists, and bureaucrats got their bonuses based on creating the second list, which is corruption at the highest level at the expense of our brave men and women.
So the fundamental difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump is this, and you can't get it in a 1-hour town hall forum tonight, Sean. It's that he's out there giving policy speeches every day. What did he do today? He went down to Philadelphia, went to the Union League, and gave this military preparedness speech on the day that he also is giving She didn't do that. So if you want to know what his full plan is as Commander-in-Chief, go read that speech. If you want to know what his plan is on middle-class tax relief, on law enforcement, on communities of color, on defeating radical Islamic terrorists, on education tomorrow. I mean, we're going to have Obamacare coming out. In other words, at least you can see Veterans Reform Act, 10-point plan. She doesn't do this.
The liberal media, I can tell already, is fixated on, well, Donald Trump said that he's questioning the general, saying he knows more about ISIS. What's your response to that?
No, I think it's crazy. I think my father's exact point is, and the generals have been handcuffed. And I said it before.
That's how I interpreted it as well.
Have been handcuffed, and so have law enforcement across the country. So have our border patrol across the country. You need to give them the tools that they need to succeed. They've been asking for the tools, and they've been denied those tools. We have amazing military. We have the best military in the world. We have the leaders there to beat ISIS. ISIS is in. I mean, ISIS is up there.
But the key is Obama, Kerry, and Clinton don't listen to the generals.
That's right, and he mentioned all 3 of them. In fairness to him, I hope people will full clip Eric and Sean, because what Mr. Trump said was, Matt Lauer said, do you have a problem with the military? You questioned it, and I said, no, I respect the military. It's President Obama, the leadership that has.
We're going to get into that and play it in full.
We'll talk on Kerry later on, too. Look, the polls are tightening. I think the Clinton folks are getting nervous. And why are the polls tightening? They call Donald Trump unfit and unpresidential. So you know what's happened? He shows that he's presidential. He goes to Mexico.
Mexico, Baton Rouge, Detroit, Philly today. Yeah.
Now, America, what's her greatest liability? Her greatest liability is people think she lies for a living. What's happened? That's only gotten worse.
Well said. All right. Guys, good to see you both.
Thank you.
And joining us now here with Reaction, host of War Stories, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. Colonel North, I think you know a thing or two about radical Islamic terrorism. And you know something about fighting a war. 58,000 brave Americans. You fought in that war. You have multiple Purple Hearts that were given you in that war. If you hear a presidential candidate glibly say, oh, I made a mistake sending you there, and it's imperative we learn from the mistake. If you're the father or mother of one of those dead soldiers, airmen, Marines, Navymen, as Obama would say, Navy corpsmen, my question to you is, I don't think I'd like that answer one bit. I'd be angry.
Well, I'm one of those, as is my brother, my next younger brother, who was sent to war by Lyndon Johnson, who made a terrible mistake and then didn't run again for re-election because of it. And Richard Nixon brought us home with the intention of winning the war. Now, look, the national security of this country and its strategy, its budget, its military end strength, its equipment buys, all of that, which were raised peripherally by Matt Lauer tonight, all have to be based on what I would call a cascade of risk, from the greatest risk to the least. And that requires we know our adversaries and the threats posed. Did anybody hear Mrs. Clinton talk about radical Islamic terror tonight? I didn't.
I didn't hear that either. I mean, she spent a lot of time having to explain herself on her email. Now, she says she can be trusted after corrupting national security and compromising it. I know of a case because I interviewed the mother, her son, who innocently sent classified information, will be spending 2 years in jail. One instance. One instant.
I would point out that I was indicted for altering, removing, and destroying U.S. government classified documents, and therefore aiding and abetting, the actual charge is aiding and abetting the obstruction of Congress. Now, mercifully, I was exonerated, but at the end of the day, that's exactly what she did. I simply point out that there is a truly different standard for those of us who serve in the armed forces and most of us who serve in government, and the treatment that Mrs. Clinton is being given by the Justice Department.
What did you think, and this didn't get enough play tonight, and I think it really should have, is I want to go back to Benghazi, because, you know, at this point, what difference does it make was Hillary's answer, but I think what's really imperative here, there were 600 separate individual requests for security before the incident happened. Remember, they were watching it in real time. The Brits had left. The Red Cross had left. The incident's happening. They're watching it, and she's negotiating with her team. She's the highest-ranking cabinet official at the table, and she's negotiating whether or not we need permission from Libya and what uniforms our brave men and women that are going to rescue them and risk their lives should be wearing.
Ever since this terrible event, I've said the crimes that were committed before, during, and after Benghazi are the things that really ought to be held to account for. They did nothing to prepare for what always will be. Listen, it's just a few days away. 9/11 will always be a terror target because it's a holiday for them. It's a great victory for them.
Such a good point.
So 9/11, with no preparations were made, when it was happening, nothing was done about it, and afterwards they had to lie to cover up their tracks.
All right, Colonel, we got to let you go. Safe home, my friend. Always good to see you.
Appreciate you, buddy.
And coming up at tonight's forum, Trump and Clinton, they both laid out their plans to defeat ISIS. When we come back, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Lieutenant General Mike Flynn are here with reaction. And later, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, he says the liberal American media is, quote, erecting a demon by protecting Hillary Clinton from scrutiny. We're going to have part 2 of my interview with Assange. That's coming up later as we continue tonight right here on Hannity. Welcome back tonight.
Promise Hillary to be the president. That's why he's making her president.
At the Commander-in-Chief Forum, let's take a look.
Part of the problem that we've had is we go in, we defeat somebody, and then we don't know what we're doing after that. Always said, take the oil. One of the benefits we would have had if we took the oil, ISIS would not have been able to take oil and use that oil to fuel themselves. If I win, I don't want to broadcast to the enemy exactly what my plan is.
We have to defeat ISIS. That is my highest counterterrorism goal. And we've got to do it with air power. We've got to do it with much more support for the Arabs and the Kurds. We are not putting ground troops into Iraq ever again, and we're not putting ground troops into Syria.
Here with reaction, author of Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, as well as the author of The Field of Fight, How We Can Win the Global War Against Radical Islam and Its Allies, retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. General Flynn, I think it's wise not to give details. You don't telegraph what you're going to do, especially if you're fighting an enemy like ISIS. With Obama and Hillary, they told the world, well, we're pulling out on this date. Good, we'll wait it out.
And we have this many troops going in. Sean, we have got to stop being what I describe as the best enemies in the world. We continuously telegraph every single move we are going to make, whether we're going to take troops out or whether we're going to put troops in. I mean, we have to stop doing that.
Were you at all offended? Because the liberal media, this is where they're going with this. They're going to ignore the fact that she made a mistake that resulted in 5,000 plus dead Americans and many others injured. But when he talked about the generals, my interpretation was, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that the generals have not been given the ability to do their job, and the only generals that stuck around were the people that would say yes.
Yeah, it's not true. I don't care. Donald Trump has enormous respect for our military. He has enormous respect for the leaders that we have in our military that are serving today. What he knows is that the decisions that have been made, the incredibly poor judgment on decisions to pull out of Iraq that led to the rise of ISIS. I mean, we really haven't talked about Libya. The decision to go into Libya was almost going to be solely placed on Hillary Clinton. And Libya is a disaster. It's a nation. It's a non-nation state now. So, and ISIS and Al Qaeda are.
Well, Libya is deeper than that. I was just talking about that. I mean, 600 specific requests denied before it happened.
Right.
Literally, while we're watching in real time.
She said something tonight, John. I'm sorry. She said something tonight that no one died in Libya. 4 Americans died in Libya, to include tonight. She said,
at this point, what difference does it make?
Well,
I'm quoting her.
Yes, I know you are, but this is about judgment. And what we saw tonight and what we've seen in the last couple of years, I mean the last decade, is just an incredibly poor judgment And I was, you know, I like to hear people talk about winning and how we're going to win.
Dr. Corker, that brings up a great point here, because she's saying we were wrong in Iraq. Oh, sorry about all you people that died and all you people that lost your legs and limbs and bled on the battlefield to win Mosul, Ramadi, Fallujah, Tikrit, and Baghdad. Sorry, oops, mistake. Then they pull out, then they create the backing for ISIS, but it's bigger than that. Then you got an Iranian deal, as we have discussed, that gives the mullahs, the #1 state sponsor of terror, all this money to spin their centrifuges and build nuclear weapons. Then you've got, of course, Libya, which the general was talking about. You know, at what point does she have to bear responsibility for all of these decisions being so destructive and so wrong?
Sean, don't hold your breath on that one. It's not going to happen. This is the Teflon Don of national security. She's never going to take responsibility for the disastrous Iraqi policy, the Libyan policy, the Syria policy. The general is absolutely right. It is a failure to have judgment. They're not interested in national security, Sean. They're interested in politics. Again, what are they doing? They're telegraphing our moves.
What about what Trump said? Generals have been fired, reduced to rubble. In other words, how was your interpretation of that? Because mine is very different than what I'm hearing on other networks.
Look, the general knows better than anybody else, but as somebody who works very closely in the military, in the last 7.5 years, the General Office of Corps, the Flag Corps, has become very politicized. If you don't agree with the White House, you could find yourself in the kind of place that General Petraeus. Yes, absolutely.
I think I know one right here. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, you know, let's be very honest.
Story. You were a contrarian.
Yeah, very much.
And what happened?
I mean, to me, you know, I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here today. So
I'm stuck with you.
I'm stuck with you, Andy.
Honestly, my life is
but you know, but this is very serious. This is very serious, because what Dr. Gork was talking about, and I know inside of our military there is great frustration. There is. I mean, you don't, and the polls of how many of our military support Donald Trump is not a mistake. I mean, this is a big deal.
It's a tough question, because you're on the inside. Is it true that our generals know that there's no hope of getting through to Obama, and he's going to do what he damn well pleases anyway?
Now, nothing's going to change. Nothing will change.
And they know that. The generals
they know that. I mean, they know that. Nothing's going to change. You know, here's what I would tell you, and I would tell the American public. There is no enemy that is unbeatable. I mean, we know how to beat these guys. We can beat these guys. And there's no ideology better than the American ideology, the American, you know, idea, our way of life.
I want to pick that up when we get back, because I think we've got to rethink. I know Donald Trump laid out the 10-point plan today. Don't we have to rethink how we approach war? We can't send kids in Humvees that are not even up armored, going door to door, when we should be building the technology, the new advanced method of warfare. And I think that's missing. We'll take a break. More with Dr. Borka, Lieutenant General Flynn right after the break. Then WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange broke news right here last night by revealing that he could release new documents about Hillary as soon as next week. We'll have part 2 of that interview and much more straight ahead.
Now, I stopped it right there to see this. I don't have no material motive for showing this, but for you to open your eyes as the people to see the truth, to know the truth, not believe in some bullshit that is told to you to keep you bullshitted and not knowing the truth is the power of the Creator that you worshiping outside of you, waiting for Jesus to come back and save you. The Creator is in you to be a creator too. You have the power. You were given life and free will to know what to do, not to have to believe in some bullshit that somebody telling you that is just that bullshit. It's not gonna do what they say it's gonna do because they don't want it to. So, like I said again, you have to open your eyes. It's time for you to know some shit and not be constantly believing in the bullshit.
Have you lost faith in the military commanders?
I have great faith in the military. I have great faith in certain of the commanders, certainly, but I have no faith in Hillary Clinton or the leadership.
All
Look at
people
what's
want to do
happened.
is
And,
war,
you know,
get
when she
money.
comes in and starts saying, oh, I would have done this, I would have done... She's been there for 30
Couch
years.
to war
We need
is a
to
bullshit
change that. We have to have it. And we
word.
have to have it fast.
And it
And
said,
he
go
reiterated
around
no
2
faith in
years.
Obama or the generals working with Obama because he's not listening to them anyway. Here with us, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. I want to put emphasis on this. You disagree with Obama. You were pushed aside. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, I read about
So the
generals are kicked out. I mean, part of this is that it's this whole notion of the ideology, the radical Islamist ideology that we know, and those of us in the intelligence community, those of us in the military know this is what we're facing. We've been fighting them. I've sat across these guys in interrogations. I know exactly what I'm talking about here. And what Donald Trump said tonight is that he has enormous respect for those that are...
He said that repeatedly, and that's being ignored by the media.
You know, the American public are not that dumb, Sean.
So this is very key to me though, you had a contrarian view. You believe we can defeat ISIS. You have a plan, Dr. Gorka has a plan, but they wouldn't listen to you and you're out.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing...
Well, what is that? Well, I didn't leave.
Yeah, well, you know, the part of the problem is that inside of the military right now, I know that their hands are tied. I mean, it's like the Border Patrol that has come out and said, hey, we support Donald Trump. These are law enforcement and military professionals.
Hands are tied.
Their hands are tied. I mean, come on.
He's the commander.
We're talking about ISIS, an enemy that can be beaten. No enemy is unbeatable.
I read with Dr. Gorka. His story, if you don't mind me using you, General, here, is crucial to Trump's comments here. And it puts context and texture to the entire answer. And if his hands were tied and he's thrown out for being contrarian, that tells me Obama's not listening to anybody but his own arrogant, radical self. And that's where the problem comes in.
Sean, it's the echo chamber, okay? It's very important to listen to what happened to the general. The general was the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, the highest ranking military intelligence professional in America, who was never invited to meet the commander-in-chief. This is the man who revolutionized our intelligence gathering in Afghanistan when General Flynn was responsible in Afghanistan for intelligence. You need to listen to what he's saying. The viewers need to understand. What the general said is absolutely true. There is no enemy America cannot defeat. But we have to have a president who believes we are at war and wants to defeat
That didn't
our
come up
enemies.
tonight, Dr. Gorka. I didn't hear Hillary challenged on why she can't utter the phrase radical Islam. I think that's crucial if you're going to fight them, right?
It was a dog and pony show, Sean. You have to look at the Philadelphia speech. Donald Trump's Philadelphia speech laid down the reality. The cuts in the army, the cuts in the Navy.
Question. If Hillary is going to admit that wars are politicized, oops, made a mistake, sorry your kid's dead, and we did the same thing in Vietnam.
This will be our last song. I'm going to take me a shower. And I'll be back on. And when I come back on, people, I'm letting you know. Come back on dressed and fresh. And I'll be back on around 1.
Getting their legs blown off or blown to smithereens. And is there a new way to fight wars without putting these kids on the ground? General.
Yeah, so I would love to hear Sebastian Gorka's answer on this too. But so the short answer is yes. The longer answer is we have to give the resources that our commanders need, and in terms of building up our military readiness. I mean, people should go and listen to what Donald Trump said today in Philadelphia.
All right, we're running out of time. Dr. Gorka, do we need strategic, tactical shifts to ensure the safety of brave men and women when politicians are going to say, oops, sorry, your kid's dead, I made a mistake?
Refill the fight by the general. Check out my book, Defeating Jihad. But most important of all, the rules of engagement have to be changed. Our guys are handicapped right now.
All right, guys, thank you all for being with us. General, always good to see you. Dr. Gorka, thank you. Coming up, part 2, my interview with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Last night, he revealed that he may release more documents pertaining to Hillary Clinton as early as next week. I asked him how significant that material is He'll give us that answer next, and then later we'll have more reactions to tonight's Commander-in-Chief Forum. We'll check in with AJ Delgado, Lisa Booth, as we continue here on Hannity. Welcome back to Hannity. So last night, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange made news on this program when he announced that he'd reveal and release several batches of documents related to Hillary Clinton, possibly as early as next week. Here's part 2 of my interview with him. Let me go to the Hillary issue for a second. You did refer to her or liken her to a demon, which I found amusing. But then you went on to say the American liberal press is falling all over themselves to defend Hillary Clinton, erecting a demon that is going to put nooses around everyone's neck as soon as she wins the election, which is almost certainly what she's going to do, meaning if she wins. I don't think anyone can accurately predict right now which way this election is going to go. That's my own personal opinion. What did you mean by that?
Well, it's a bit taken out of context by critics like the New York Times. I wasn't talking about Hillary Clinton as a person, but rather the climate that they are erecting. It is a demon, that climate. If Hillary Clinton is elected, then they have legitimized a climate of calling opposition leaders Russian agents, calling critical press Russian agents. Her campaign team has done it both for Mr. Trump, for us, for the Greens candidate, Jill Stein, and for The Intercept, another small investigative publisher in the United States. They are legitimizing that climate. When the New York Times is a kind of standard bearer of the liberal press, says that's an okay thing to do for a ruling party candidate to come out and say that the opposition leaders and the press are foreign agents in order to turn around a domestic scandal. That's a really serious problem.
You know, I give you more credit than those in the liberal press. For example, I'm a commentator on the talk show. I openly tell this audience I have strong conservative opinions, but I would expect objective journalists to be doing a lot of what you're doing. And you're right, I think they're unwilling to do that because they've got a political agenda in play. You have talked at length about other information that you have that you will be releasing to the American public prior to the election in November. Can you give us any insight about that information? Do you think it will have a dramatic impact on the electoral results?
I don't know about the electoral results. You know, I'm quite cynical about politics, or skeptical about politics, as I'm sure you probably are. That's all Sean.
Beautiful-hearted little girl.
Interesting ways. I do think that the material that we have, that we're working on around the clock, is significant.
The love for
and
her
it's up to people to look at it and run with it. Now, I'm sure Fox News will run with some of that, but in the DNC leak, yes, we saw the resignation of 5 top DNC officials, including the president. But did the New York Times run with it? No. Did MSNBC run with it? No. In fact, MSNBC, Politico, and NBC were exposed as conspiring with the DNC to subvert.
Here's some more lovely vibrations for you, little girl.
People in the United States came to our website. Some good journalists also came, and it was the public that really took it up and pushed it. So I hope that will happen again.
You said you were going to release more information before the election on November 8th. If you had to maybe rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most significant, how significant is it?
Well, there's not just one type of piece of information. We have thousands and thousands of records. So each 100 records gives you a story. So you have to kind of understand each story, and that is a lot of work to format it, to verify it, to put it in particular batches to be released. WikiLeaks is tax deductible in the United States. If people want to try and help us do that, we're a small outfit that has been attacked by the Obama administration for 6 years now in an investigation that has been condemned by Human Rights Watch, by the UN,
Mama,
even by
keep love in your heart.
You have said that if you had information on any
And your
candidate,
will
you feel the public has a right
be
to know.
done.
Do you
She
have
will
any
be
information,
stronger
any batches, if you
and
will, on Donald Trump?
We have information which touches on the Republican Party's campaign. in assessing that information. We will publish it, of course. But, you know, Donald Trump he makes very controversial statements. He doesn't have a history of being in government.
He doesn't use email, you know that, right? He doesn't use email personally.
I'm sorry?
Donald Trump does not use email personally.
All right.
And
Let me ask you one last question on the morals and ethics of this. I actually do applaud. You've exposed a lot about our government that I am appreciative of as a citizen, because I think there have been things that have been going on that we need to know about, and I hope it wakes people up. Where do you draw a line in terms of the right to citizens, private citizens, or, you know, people even in the
all
public
because
to have
of the
privacy?
original creator's name, and that's the way you feel.
Well, look, we publish
The love
information from political
in
parties
you
and governments.
is real,
We're not interested in
and the power
information from
of that
private
love
individuals
from
unless they're
you
billionaires or
is real.
trying to manipulate
You
or
see
drive
the
the
beauty
political system in some way. So people don't need to worry about which takes an interest in that. But for these big corrupt organizations, you know, big dodgy politicians and so on, we just say what they say. We've got nothing to hide. We've got nothing to fear. What's their problem in the public knowing the truth? Because that's all we publish. There's no allegation that we haven't been completely accurate.
That's 100% true. Like somebody like George Soros would be on your radar. He's trying to influence elections. He's trying to impact the political process.
We've already published quite a lot of information about George Soros. It has already been published elsewhere, but in an unusable form. That's part of what we do as well, is take records that are extremely hard to use, like some of the State Department records on Clinton, for example. You can't search them all. So we create this wonderful library of how modern institutions actually behave across the world, in the United States, in other countries as well. We've published 650,000 documents on Russia, most of them critical, 2.3 million about Bashar al-Assad and Syria, including even his personal emails.
And coming up, we have more reaction to tonight's Commander-in-Chief Forum. We'll check in with AJ Delgado, Lisa Booth. They're here next as we continue. Glad you're with us. And welcome back to Hannity, here with more reaction to tonight's Commander-in-Chief Forum. Washington Examiner contributor Lisa Booth, Trump campaign senior advisor, our friend AJ Delgado. All right, what are the headlines from tonight's event from your perspective, not the liberal media perspective?
I thought it was an amazingly poor performance from Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Surprisingly bad.
You go, Mama.
And which
Keep
is
up the good work.
kind of has me wondering now how
You
she'll
stay
perform in
strong,
the debate.
little girl.
She faltered badly
All
under
love.
pressure, Sean. She honestly seemed as though she was going to have some sort of emotional breakdown when he started questioning her about the emails. She knows she's lying. She knows she's been caught lying. She knows she broke.
By the way, she extended the lie tonight. We had a new answer. We had a new lie tonight. So,
When do we not? It seems they come in every day.
I do. Look, I can play Trey Gowdy again and again, but Trey Gowdy interviewing Comey, no, that's a lie. No, that's a lie. No, that's a lie. I mean, it's pretty profound, right?
Well, we've heard a million different iterations of the classified information. It wasn't, I didn't send classified information. Okay, well, I sent classified information, but I didn't, I didn't really know what the seed meant, right? I thought it meant it was alphabetized. But I mean, come on. Hillary Clinton, I believe Donald Trump is right when he says Hillary Clinton has disqualified herself from being commander-in-chief. The reality is, let's look at the woman's actions. She's reportedly spent $140,000 out of her own pocket to set up a private email server, deleted tens of thousands of emails using BleachBit. Software
BleachBit, my favorite part, because then everybody goes, did you wipe the server clean, with a cloth, Ed? And they're using BleachBit.
John, that's obstruction of justice.
Jesus can't find it. That's how
Potential evidence.
These don't exist, that's why I couldn't find it.
Attorney, and you went to Harvard Law, correct?
You don't.
Like I said, people, I'll be back on at 1 o'clock. I'm gonna let this play out for y'all. I'll be back on at 1 o'clock. When I come back on at 1 o'clock, I got something to say.
This is an easy one. Please go Google
Right.
Brian. I want to make sure I get it right. Brian Ishimura. Brian Ishimura was a naval reservist who pretty much did what Hillary Clinton did.
Oh, you're right.
He was fined and he can no longer have security clearance.
Now, Julie Casas is on my radio show for an hour tomorrow, but I'm also interviewing this week a guy who's going off to jail because he sent out classified material.
Right.
Okay, one time. once.
She should be in a trial room right now, in a courtroom, not running for president. She's not just unqualified, she's disqualified.
And it's also the fact, other information that we learned from the FBI putting out some of those documents, the document done prior to Labor Day, is the fact that her aides quite literally smashed phones with hammers. The fact, despite the fact that she told
there wasn't multiple devices, there were 13
cameras.
But she said there was one.
She said that she used one for convenience.
13.
There's no question anymore if she was hiding something. You don't take those actions
Hey, AJ,
if you're
you're trying
trying
to
to hide
13 more in the agreement. Will you go bust that up with a hammer someplace? It's my iPhone.
Right. That's not weird at all.
Crap out of it and erase it for me.
That's a good fun segment.
Do you have any bleach pen? Anybody?
Attorney is very expensive. If you don't have the money, you have something to hide.
I've never tried to hide something to that degree. So
Why can't you just, if it's really about yoga or wedding and a funeral, why don't you just go delete and delete it like everybody else?
And run them all over like she said she
Oh,
did.
that would be
and
the
it turned out
legal.
17,000.
And unless she was
No,
doing
33.
yoga in Benghazi, we know that she's lied because she said that she had turned over her work-related.
We got a break?
Not the case.
When we come back, we need your help.
And I'll do it. I miss the class. Until 1 o'clock, I'll be back on here.